crypto assets. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best? There is no second best.
This is Discover Crypto. Every day on this channel, we teach you how to make money with crypto and digital assets. I'm joined here with TJ. We got a lot of news to cover. We got to talk about Trump's big, beautiful bill and its impact on crypto, its impact on your Bitcoin, its impact on altcoins, and the impact on inflation. What does that mean just moving forward as we just basically lose all the value of our US dollar? TJ, how are you doing on this wonderful hump day?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Happy to be in Bitcoin for exactly the reason you just mentioned. $5 trillion. It seems like they're going to be printing here soon. Dollar continues to go down. Bitcoin continues to go up. And yeah, it's a great day to be here. Happy to be with the Disco fam. Good morning. See all the faces in here. Bad Fox, Don Ridey, The Goat, One House Productions, DCA, Prey, all the fan favorites. Got Gokes, Leon, Pre-Rich, H-Bar. Let's say rack them up, stack them up. All of our favorites. Raul, Kelly, Kellum from the Bit Lab, always hanging out. So yeah, it's a good day to be here. Good day to be in Bitcoin, as always.
All right. And we all know that the breaking news that just happened here, I think Greg posted about it. Diddy has been found not guilty, everybody. Of course, I know that's yay. But yeah, this is breaking like 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. And so you're going to see a lot of Diddy memes coming forward. But also there's, this is also breaking. Peter Thiel and Palmer Luckey to fund and launch a new crypto bank. And I think I just saw about 15 minutes ago, Trump maybe signed a deal with Vietnam. So we're seeing a lot of movement and a lot of activity in the markets just over the past couple minutes. And you can see that is why Bitcoin just trying to choose a direction, losing a little bit of the RSI on some of the smaller time frames here. You can see, creating higher highs as the RSI creates lower highs. Let's go up to the 5-minute here. Still losing a little bit of strength on the RSI. We keep zooming out. We're going to look at some of the levels that Bitcoin. We're going to talk about the megaphone pattern. Are we still holding? And then we're going to look at the broader channel, how that is holding up as well. Let's look at the rest of the market here. We're going to hit refresh. Bitcoin's up a little bit. It's up 1.3%. ETH is up 1.4%. This is alt season, everybody. Your alts are outperforming. BNB is up 1.6. Solana, a lot of good news with Solana, but we're not seeing a lot of movement here. We're going to talk about that. Is Solana doomed? Cardano with a nice little pump here. It's up about 3%. And let's go to the biggest movers today. TIA up about 7%. And Sonic. And I know some meme holders are happy. SPX 6900 is up. I almost longed this morning, TJ, just because it was the biggest loser on the 1 hour. I was just going to YOLO into it. I didn't pull the trigger.
I'm curious, what's the 30-day? I'm just, sometimes I like looking at the longer ones. Say, Kaya, Pudgy's killing it.
Yeah, shout out to the Pengu community. I know we have a lot of people that like Pudgy Penguins. I think we got one behind us.
We did. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. I got one of those in my house too. Hannah got one for Ivy with the little card that goes with it and everything verified for when she was
she was trying to get us to buy those under an ETH. I don't know what they're at now, but they're way up there. Let's see. SPX is up 23%. Bitcoin Cash with a good month here. It is up 25%. It looked like it did moon in June, but I think it's going to crash soon. And if you're a holder, you might be nervous and you might start you might even swoon on that one, and you're just going to want to gouge out your eyes with a rusty spoon. Now let's look at the big losers. We have TIA, and so you see a nice pump today, but the larger picture is it does seem to be in a downtrend.
Yeah, I think people are, as far as I can tell, most people that I know that hold TIA are crushed on it. Like it came out high, came out of the box, got a lot of excitement early.
Modular blockchains. We got to pay attention to modular blockchains.
And that's what a VC chart looks like, though, because the people who made the most on that
market cap.
Yeah, they just jumped, they just pumped it and dumped it, and it's been, most people go back to the price. We're buying after that first, where go left.
Oh, this is max.
Yeah, I know, but go to the left of the chart. I want to that right there. Up to the right, they bought on that first consolidation right there in that range, and then it pumped up a little bit, and it's been down ever since. Most people that I know are down bad on TIA.
Yeah, a little cup and
tokenomics.
handle, like, oh, cup and
Yeah.
handles forming.
This guy said it right here, John Foster. They're super diluted, and so they just kept coming out, and then
Yeah, they just kept
got
getting
wrecked.
more tokens. So I mean, you can see this little bit of a price spike here. We couldn't even hit $10. Meanwhile, the market cap had quadrupled, and so this is just VCs getting their tokens, dumping the tokens, and so that is why the price was suppressed. So the token value of the entire ecosystem quadrupling in this period, but really only going from $4 to $8. So yeah, VCs getting in some wins there though. So shout out to the VCs. Let's get into the main. I do want to tease something. We're gonna have someone on a little bit later. His name is CJ Constantine. What's the constant? Is that OS? I thought it was just Constantine. Is it Konstantinos?
I don't know. We'll have to ask him.
Even more Greek than I originally thought there. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about this and the People's Reserve and what they're doing with backing mortgages with Bitcoin, and maybe get his take on the big, beautiful bill. So let's go roll into the big, beautiful bill news here. U.S. Senate passed it narrowly last night, folks. This was as close it could come. It was a squeaker. Republicans in the U.S. Senate narrowly passed the budget reconciliation bill, strongly pushed by Donald Trump and heavily criticized by members of both parties for concerns about healthcare cuts, AI regulation, and redistribution of wealth through tax cuts. They, talking about increasing the length of the tax cut because it's going to end soon. Now, in a 50-50 vote, it couldn't have got closer. After more than 24 hours in session, the Senate did pass the Big Beautiful Bill Act, with J.D. Vance acting as the tiebreaker. All Democrats and 3 Republicans voted against the legislation, with many proposing amendments to address concerns about AI and funding to rural hospitals. Now, amid debate on the bill, Cynthia Lummis suggested she would add a provision to address what she called the unfair tax treatment of crypto miners and stakers. We covered this yesterday. However, her changes to the bill did not appear in the amendments brought to the Senate floor on Monday and Tuesday. And the legislation, it passed without the crypto protection, without the crypto taxation provision there.
What was hers? Did she say something about it? What was that tweet? Was it anything?
It was an older tweet here. I actually went to her account earlier. It was, here you go. While the bill isn't perfect, it's a major step in the right direction that further unlocks Wyoming energy and delivers significant wins for the working families across Wyoming. My statement here. So she kind of, talks about Medicaid, SNAP, and doesn't really mention the crypto angle there. So just counted a major step in the right direction. Now, following the vote, if it will return to the House of Representatives, where the chamber is then going to address the Senate's amendments. And though the Senate and House are moving forward with different bills for payment stablecoins, create a national Bitcoin reserve, and establish digital asset market structure, legislation will not be considered until after this budget bill. So we still got a lot of crypto bills in the works, but we got to worry about the big, beautiful bill first. It's in the name. It's the big bill. We got to do the big bill first. Now, the Senate did pass the Genius Act a couple weeks ago, sent the bill for the House for further consideration. Now he's expecting limited, if any, changes, and suggesting, deference to Trump's call to get it to his desk with no add-on. And I think they had a little guesstimate here. I think the Bitcoin reserve bill could be seen late this year.
Wow.
Next year.
That'd be wild.
We got some super chats here.
Yeah, go ahead, hit it.
What do you guys think of virtuals at the moment? Think any future potential to bounce back? I wouldn't be betting against virtuals personally. Let's go to virtuals. Now, people love revenue, and then sometimes the revenue numbers for crypto companies can get a little out of whack. Like, okay, we went from making nothing to making $10 a day, and they're like, oh my God, there's revenue, pile in. And then if you look at the stock market, you're like, oh, whoa, the profit to earnings ratios are like way out of whack in crypto. But that being said, virtuals, they do create AI agents similar to Hype. It's kind of exciting. It makes some cash here. I'm not liking this chart though. If I go, let's say, to the daily, we're getting a little bit of strength in the RSI. So, I mean, maybe you found a potential bottom there. I would prefer a little bit cleaner bullish divergence on the daily candles. You can see right here, the RSI created a higher low while the price made a lower low. So this is a great signal to get in. This, I'm still maybe waiting for a little bit further confirmation. So maybe let's go to the 12-hour. Maybe that gives us some clues. We're seeing, I'm still waiting for maybe a little dip below this, and then that's going to be a great entry as long as we have strong RSI. So I think we could be seeing a short-term correction on the shorter time frames here. Yeah, I would say the RSI is largely reset. So you might be heading up on this one.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I agree with what Steve was saying. Solid fundamentals, and I do think this as well. The AI agent narrative has cooled down, but it will
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah,
This is something
I
I
would agree.
talk about a lot: is knowing the niche and the narrative that's in the meta. We know it came. Somebody asked the question yesterday. Oh, okay, I've got RWA and DeFi. What's the next narrative or niche I need to be looking into? The answer was AI. AI will get back into the media, and AI tokens and AI coins. And so seeing the ones that have already shown kind of first mover advantage in that, they will, and we also see them when bounces happen, they're bouncing the hardest. You're looking for the most volatile a lot of times, the fastest mover to the downside when things are pulling back, and the fastest mover to the upside when things are going up. A lot of times you can see, and Virtuals has shown this over the last 30 days or so, when there have been pumps, Virtuals have often been the fastest horse in those pumps. So that I fully expect to see it do very similar things to what it did previously. That was I would say that was somewhat of a foreshadowing. So yeah, I still think Virtuals. Gosh, this happens so fast in crypto, you almost forget them. DeFi AI, I think, is going to be another decent one. And what AI 16 is it? Did they ever change the name? Is it Eliza OS now? Is what did they
so.
change it?
Yeah.
So those
I also
three, I still think will do well. And then there'll be another one that nobody's heard of yet. That all the it's in seed rounds and stuff that'll launch right there, and all the seeds that launch. August, September, October, November, probably like October, September, November. Those are the ones that are going to just be going nuts.
And there's a super speculative version of this on the Cardano ecosystem. This is just for you, Steve-O. I know you'll ignore this one. It's like literally a $1 or $2 million market cap. It's up 60% in the last month. It's Farm Roll is the Roll token, and I think it's a fairly new token, but no matter when you jumped in, you're probably up unless you bought the peak right there. But I would expect this to turn around with AI. You'll see the Cardano AI projects pump as well. Now, there is one more angle I want to talk about, the big, beautiful bill, and that's going to be its effect on inflation. Here is a really good breakdown on what this means for crypto as far as the de-dollarization, or your dollar losing value as the globe rejects this currency that we kind of took for granted. U.S. Senate passed Trump's big, beautiful bill. What does it mean for crypto? And so, like we said, it narrowly passed, but this has a $3.3 trillion fiscal package. As the legislation heads to the House for final approval, crypto markets are closely watching the potential impact. So the most immediate impact is going to be on Bitcoin. It's expected to raise the national debt by over $3 trillion. So market participants are already bracing for longer-term inflationary pressure. Bitcoin, often viewed as a hedge against currency debasement, aka inflation, this could benefit from renewed demand. Most importantly, a weaker dollar and declining confidence in U.S. fiscal management would likely reinforce Bitcoin's digital gold narrative. And so we're going to talk more about the M2 and the weakening dollar. We're going to talk about the DXY, all that good stuff there. Didn't the Senate take out the mining tax part? Yeah, that's what we were referring to earlier. Cynthia Lummis's provisions did not get in there, but she's counting it as a small step in the right direction. Now, David Bailey, here's his take. We lost on getting the Bitcoin and crypto tax amendment in the big beautiful bill. It sucks. This is one of the top set of issues we've been advocating for. Maybe we get it in a new bill, or we take another swing in next year's budget, but we'll get it done. He's thanking Lummis for her leadership there. I won't point fingers at who is to blame. Such a crypto dude here, but Bitcoin never forgets. What are your thoughts on the big, beautiful bill? Is it a loss for crypto that there's no crypto amendments?
Is it a loss? I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, technically they didn't get it in there. They were trying to do something, they didn't succeed. But I would agree with both David Bailey and Cynthia Lummis' take, in the sense that just the fact that we were discussing them and they were being talked about in one of the biggest bills, and we're talking about the impact of crypto and blockchain and mining and all this stuff. That's a win. We haven't been anywhere close to this level of influence and impact on lawmakers that we're at right now. And I think I know what he's alluding to there when he says, he's not naming names, but Bitcoin never forgets. There's definitely people lobbying and angling and trying to get certain amendments in and getting certain things taken out. And if you've been in Bitcoin for a while, what you can see is as time goes on, the people that advocate for Bitcoin are slowly getting more and more powerful, and the people that are fighting Bitcoin are slowly getting weaker and weaker and looking more and more
Are you talking
foolish.
about Vitalik's arm strength?
No,
That was messed up, TJ. Don't
that,
body shame Vitalik.
that is not what I'm talking about at all. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
the people that even in the Larry Finks of the world that used to be against Bitcoin that have now come around and joined the team because they realize, like, wait a minute, these guys are getting stronger and powerful, and everybody else who's saying they're idiots is getting weaker and their stuff's crumbling. I think I'm going to go join that team. And now it really is game theory. I mean, they're really piling in at a rate that we haven't seen before, and you're either going to get on the train or you're going to get left off. And it didn't make it in this amendment, but I think as time goes on, we're going to see more and more people that understand true freedom and self-sovereignty make their way into positions and seats of power within our government and hopefully turn this thing around. I'm not holding my breath, but either way, I mean, that's what I want Elon Musk to learn. I wish Elon knew that we already had an opt-out system. If you don't believe this system works, Bitcoin is the freedom party. Bitcoin is the way you exit the system, and enough people are doing that now to where it's making an impact. So,
all right, let's talk a little Bitcoin price action. We got a couple posts we're going to look at, then we're going to jump into the Bitcoin charts. We're going to look at the 1 hour and the daily here. Yes, Scott, we talked about the Vietnam deal. A lot of clothing made in Vietnam. I don't know how much this is going to impact America's bottom line.
No, it's big. There's a lot of chip manufacturing and other stuff. You know,
oh, that is right. Yeah, some of the
of
lower end chips are made in Vietnam.
Tons of stuff being made in Vietnam. I know from like a lot of the guys that I know, supply chain wise, that's a big deal.
There you go. There you go. What's your favorite Vietnam movie? Chat. I want to know yours as well. You got a favorite movie about Vietnam?
Does Tropic Thunder count? Is that Vietnam?
I will count that as a yes. We'll count that as a yes. For me, it is Full Metal Jacket. I laughed till I cried during the first half of that movie.
Yeah.
The sergeant is just so good. He was like a real sergeant or something.
You know, I've heard of that movie. I don't think I've seen that one. I'll have to check it out.
It definitely got it. I mean, Crypto Glassworks agree. Yeah, it is directed by Stanley Kubrick. No, what did he do? Apocalypse Now. But yeah, great movie. Chips are Full Metal Jacket. Platoon's a good one too. Apocalypse Now. The documentary about making it, maybe even better. But let's talk about Bitcoin here. BlackRock bought 37,000 Bitcoin in June. Only 13,000 Bitcoin were mined. TJ, I did the math. You know me. I like to throw on the accountant hat every now and then. I did the math here. That means every 10 minutes. BlackRock bought 8.56 Bitcoin. Remember, only 3.125 are mined every 10 minutes. And that is going to cut in half in 3 years. So this is about to go to 0.16, essentially, or a little bit lower. Every 10 minutes, they're buying 8, but we only mine 3. Something has to change soon. This will lead to a supply shock. Isn't that interesting? BlackRock buying almost a Bitcoin a minute.
Wow. Yeah.
Dope.
Wouldn't want to be fighting that train. Just saying, you got the Fed printing faster than ever. You got BlackRock and all the richest people in the world buying Bitcoin faster than ever. You got 2 trains running really fast on their own tracks. I know which one I want to be on.
People are loving the Porsche Challenge videos. Yeah, I know Josh's having a good time. I'm loving watching them as well. So if you haven't watched those, make sure you go watch them. Forrest Gump is a sleeper hit for Vietnam movie. I will accept Forrest Gump. You've seen Forrest Gump, right?
Absolutely.
You grew up a little sheltered.
No. I saw it. Yeah, I did grow up. Yeah, a little. What's the phrase?
Life's like a
box of chocolates. Yeah.
That's right. There's a lot of quotes from the movie, but I'm not going to get into it. It happens. We'll just say that one. All right. Bitcoin. Let's do the MVRV. This is the market value to realized value. So this is the value from when they last changed hands compared to the value today. It is still considerably below the previous all-time high breaks in March and December last year. It's a measure of relative profit compared to historical movements, and we still have plenty of room to run. And we zoom in on the chart here. So they got this adjusted score on the left side. So this is kind of measuring the MVRV. The lower the score, the less people in profit. You can see when we did the giant dip, we were coming in with the score below 1. This is when Bitcoin hit around $15,000. Then as it starts to go up, you can see typically we sell above, I would say, the 2.4, maybe the 2.5 range. Really, you could say we start selling heavily after the 2.6 range. This current period, I mean, we're right now sitting around 2.2, flashed into the 2.4, but didn't quite get this parabolic top. Even if you draw a trend line, I mean, to me, it still seems like we got a little bit of room to grow for this MVRV score. So I'm not thinking the bull run and the short term is over. I think we're about to start seeing some pumps here. And maybe Elon Musk is going to lead the way. Bitcoin historian found breaking news. Elon Musk just liked an X post that says he's secretly buying Bitcoin. This isn't just a bullish Bitcoin. Oh, yeah, Bitcoin to the moon. Oh, I liked it. Or a Michael Saylor post. This is a post suggesting he's secretly buying Bitcoin. Now, remember Elon Musk, how pissed off he got that we're basically running a deficit. He did all this work with Doge. He said, you're still not taking this serious. We are falling off a cliff with the debt system. The dollar is going to be ruined if you don't make major drastic changes today. We didn't make the changes. And now he's liking posts saying he's secretly buying Bitcoin. I'm thinking he maybe has accumulated Bitcoin in the last 12 months. What do you think?
I think he's been accumulating a lot of Bitcoin for a very long time. Yeah. And I think there's a very specific, I've said this for a while. I think there's a very specific reason he hasn't been making public statements about it. I don't think it's an accident. I think if it was something he wasn't doing something with specifically, he would have just been casually commenting about it, as he does with many things. The fact that he's been silent on this one very important issue that I know he understands. I mean, I want to say it was 2018, 2019. He was seen on stage holding a book, understanding Bitcoin and, cryptographic something or other. So he's been researching this for a while. Tesla accepted payments. I think he's got a lot of Bitcoin, and that's what I was trying to say. Bitcoin is the freedom party. Bitcoin is the exit the system party. Just join the Bitcoiners and let's lead the way. Let's go Bitcoin on a pump a little bit right now, back above 108. So, and we are going to have CJ joining us shortly. They've just reached out, so he's getting prepared, and we're going to be talking about some Bitcoin mortgages if you want to buy a house and never sell your Bitcoin again.
Yeah, Bitcoin on a nice little tear here. Looking at the 1 minute chart, you can see, just pumping there. Now let's get back to the historian. This is the actual post. Has anyone noticed how Elon talks about things like overspending and debt and bad government decisions, but has completely stopped talking about Bitcoin? Doesn't add up. What's he hiding? So this person coin joined Chris. Maybe he's stacking quietly. Boom. Elon Musk liked your reply. So, I don't know. Something there, folks. Something there. Now, let's talk about the dollar. To that effect, is the dollar failing? What do the charts say? What do the facts say? The facts say it is a hellscape. This has been one of the worst years in history for the U.S. dollar. The dollar index fell 10% in the first half of 25. The worst first half performance since the end of the gold-backed system in 1973. This is also the weakest performance for any 6 month period since 2009, our great financial crisis. Furthermore, the Bloomberg's dollar spot index has posted 6 consecutive monthly decline, matching the longest losing streak in 8 years. The dollar's down 14% against the Swiss franc. I always bring up the Swiss franc. It's just the best currency out there. 13% against the euro, 10% against the yen, and 9% against the pound. And so you hear things like, oh, it's all relative. It's all relative. The DXY, we have suggested on this channel, maybe they are choosing these currencies and these ratios a little bit strategically here to kind of hide. You see a lot of Japanese yen in the weight here. But when you're looking compared to strong currency, the dollar's down 14% against the Swiss franc. This comes as investors react to tariffs, U.S. deficit, and pressure on the Fed to cut rates. The dollar is nearing bear market territory. And then I just noticed this. That's the Bitcoin chart. We'll get into that in a second. This is the DXY chart. This is a 3-day chart. We have broken a very serious trend line here. And not only that, we're starting to close daily candles below it. Now, when we start closing weekly candles, that's when I'm like, it's confirmed. I'm not going to say it's confirmed downtrend, but you can see this trend line goes all the way back to 2011. This is a 14-year trend line for the strength of the dollar. Losing this 14-year trend line, to me, this could definitely be bear market territory for the dollar. What does Bitcoin do in, say, a bear market environment for the dollar?
Goes to the moon.
Goes to the moon.
That's when it's great to hold Bitcoin. When the dollar's weak, Bitcoin is strong. When the dollar's strong, Bitcoin is still strong. It's amazing how it works. It's great.
Love it. All right, now let's look at, this is the Bitcoin chart I want to show you. We talked about the megaphone pattern yesterday, and we also talked about the larger trend line, or I'm sorry, the larger parallel channel. Look what's happening as we speak. We're testing the top of the parallel channel. But if we were to play out the megaphone pattern, we still got a little bit of movement to the upside. Oh, wow. It's only 1%. That's, oh my God. We're only $1,000 away. We could be hitting rejection town pretty soon, just like DZ at the 8th grade dance. Now, if we zoom out, go to the daily, is where you see the parallel channel. We have a lot of downside below us here, folks. So remember, we talked about some of these CME gaps. It's a very doable decline. We might lose $8, $9, $10,000 in Bitcoin's price here. So warning, warning, warning. However, we might touch the top one more time, maybe do a little shakeout scam wick above, and then we follow the downside. That'd be my prediction here. Something kind of like this. What do you think? Or TJ, are you come with this scenario A, but we also got scenario B. We come down, we retest, and then we go to the moon. A or B, TJ? What do you got?
Yeah, what candles are those? Sorry, I'm gonna make this a little bit.
This is 1 hour candles on Bitcoin. We can go to the 4 hour and stretch it a little.
And the bottom of that megaphone is what?
No, I'm saying below the megaphone.
Yeah,
maybe testing the bottom of the range. This is that, 97K range.
Yeah, that's a pretty. I mean, I don't think that's. Oh, hold on. That's a fairly likely scenario going down first. On the short term stuff, I'm not the best. So that's just you, Josh, Kelly, all do that stuff much better than me. I'm not. I'm more on the macro. Like I'm loading up. I've got some cash coming in right now. If it goes to 97, I'm piling it all in. I'm piling it all in. If it's at 108, I don't really care because eventually we are going up to that scenario B where we're seeing like there's I could see us 135 very, very soon. I could see us 150 again, 200. It's all Bitcoin is all up inevitably for me. And this is, I'm going to give a little, we're about to pull CJ in here. I don't want to mispronounce his last name. I'll just say CJ. From TJ to CJ, another from the People's Reserve talking about Bitcoin backed mortgages. This is something that I've experienced in my own life. Part of what I'm doing, I'm in the process. I've done a lot of it this year right now of exiting real estate, getting back into Bitcoin because I bought property with Bitcoin. Thought I was being a genius. I go back, if you go back and look at the chart of when I was selling my Bitcoin, I was like, man, I'm a genius. I nailed the top, in 2021, just crushed it, laddered out, bought the stuff, and you feel like a genius. You feel like you're smart for about 2 to 3 years. And then it starts coming back around and you're like, wait a minute, I'm paying how much in property tax and I'm paying how much in these fees and those fees. I saw a bill yesterday. I've paid almost $70,000 a year in property tax on one property.
Is that the one we're in right now?
Yeah.
$70K a month.
No, not a month.
Oh, sorry. So far this year, and that's the government we're renting the land from the government.
Exactly.
We don't even own it.
And it's like, man, they don't charge you taxes just to hold Bitcoin at least. So if you go do the math on what Bitcoin was then and now, you feel a lot less smart. So now I'm in the process of getting back into Bitcoin and less into real estate. Well, this is exactly the story CJ has been through himself. This is exactly why he created the product, the People's Reserve, to help people have an option. If you have some gains in Bitcoin and you want to be able to change, impact your everyday life, change your lifestyle, but you don't want to have to sell the most valuable asset of all time, now there's ways you can do that. So CJ, welcome to the show. Happy to have you here. We spoke with you some in Las Vegas. The audience has seen that a little bit, but Bitcoin backed mortgages, one of the I would say most interesting things to our audience right now. So welcome in. Happy to hear from you. And what's new in the world of the People's Reserve?
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for having me. It's great to be on. And it's just amazing that you're able to time the top of a market, which is, most people cannot do that. Like most people lose, but you nail the top of the market and you feel so smart. And then 2-3 years later, you're like, wait a second. It was worth 60. Now it's worth 107. We're going to 150 and 200. Mm-hmm. Plus I have to pay the taxes and all these carrying costs, deal with tenants. I mean, to me, that's why I created People's Reserve. We want to give you the best of both worlds. We want to give you the opportunity to increase your quality of life and standard of living and to hop into that dream home that you want without giving up the most valuable asset on your balance sheet. There is no case scenario where it makes up giving up Bitcoin on your balance sheet, because the 5-year compounding annual growth rate is over 60%. The 10-year compounding annual growth rate is over 80%. Well, with that kind of performance over a 5-year period, you 10x your value. So if you buy a $500,000 home and you time the top of the market, or you sell 5 Bitcoin right now to buy your single family home, 5 years from now, if Bitcoin maintains that performance, which the historical precedent over the long 10-year period, it's showing that it's actually higher over a 10-year period. Very rare for an asset to have a higher 10-year CAGR than it does 5-year CAGR. That's why Wall Street is monetizing the asset class as digital gold. It's engineered money. It's performing the way it was designed to perform. But looking at that $500,000 house would be worth $5 million. And that's my problem. I walk home every day into my $10 million home. The problem is it's worth less than $500,000. So you don't want to get into that scenario where you're giving up your Bitcoin to get your home.
And just to unpack it a little bit for the people at home. So when you buy a home, the banks and everybody, the mortgage, the underwriters, let's just say the bank man, he's going to want to see cash in your bank account. And this might not even be related to your down payment. They just want to know you're financially healthy. One thing you can't do typically if you go to a normal bank and say, well, hey, look at my Coinbase or look at my Bitcoin or look at how much Bitcoin I have in my Arculus wallet. They're going to say that does not count. You need to sell that Bitcoin, put that fiat in your bank account, and then we'll give you we'll give you a deal. We'll allow you to purchase this home. So what People's Reserve do, now correct me if I'm wrong, you allow people to, say, hey, I have this much Bitcoin, and then you count that as collateral instead of having to have cash in a bank account, right?
Yeah, basically. And I think it goes a little bit beyond that, but that's the great first step. And we actually recently saw the news. It really took off with Bill Pulte announcing that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are now going to consider cryptocurrency holdings as part of your qualification for that mortgage. And that's a great first step for the entire industry. But what People's Reserve does is we go to the next level, because what they're talking about are standardized qualified mortgages that end up being packaged together into mortgage-backed securities and sold off into the marketplace. So there's a standardization that goes into those types of contracts. It's not integrating Bitcoin. It's just qualifying you for the loan because of your crypto holdings. What People's Reserve does is we actually integrate Bitcoin into our contract. It's a non-standardized mortgage. It's a non-qualified mortgage. It doesn't get packaged together into mortgage-backed securities. But what that allows is for a little bit more innovation. So we integrate Bitcoin into the contract as a form of collateral so that the debt isn't just backed by your promise and by your time and energy. It's also backed by Bitcoin, which as an engineered money is the most pristine form of collateral in the world. Now, what's really exciting about that is lenders are starting to wake up, especially here at People's Reserve and the LPs that we've sourced into our ecosystem. It's actually less risky to lend to somebody who's posting Bitcoin as collateral than it is to the guy who's making you a 30-year promise. Common sense, right?
Yeah, I think you have a fascinating story, and you kind of touched on it, but people might not be aware of all the details. You say, every day I look at my $10 million house. So there's a story behind that where you sold Bitcoin at a certain price, and it was a certain amount of Bitcoin. It was a certain year. Could you just unpackage, what is the story of you traded Bitcoin for a house and now you regret it?
Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily regret it, but I don't like the math. I can tell you that much. So yeah, this was 2019. Bitcoin was at bear market bottoms and lows. I brought my ass back to work, and I was serving tables at this restaurant called Green Flash. That's where I met Charlie Shrem, because I didn't want to sell any more Bitcoin. But I bought a regular single family home, just over 2,000 square feet, 5 bedrooms, couple baths, nothing fancy, a starter home, just a starter home. But my wife was pregnant. So at that time I had to we were renting in like an apartment. So it was not a place where you'd want to grow your family. So it was a decision that I had to make and made sense relative to my overall savings. And when I look back on it, it's like, I don't regret it because it's part of the hierarchy of needs, right? It's part of life experience. What's the point of making money if you don't increase your quality of life and your standard of living? What's the point of making money if you don't set your kids up for success and for a better future? So there's a middle market here where it's like, I want to do what makes sense, but I also want to increase my quality of life and standard of living. So when I bought that home for 100 Bitcoin, yeah, at the time it was fantastic. But today, looking back on it, it revealed a problem. And that problem, now we solve that problem at People's Reserve because you can unlock the purchasing power of your Bitcoin without giving up ownership. And then as Bitcoin appreciates and continues to compound its value over time, we can actually lower your interest rate. So
I was just about to ask that. So, this would be adjustable, right? So if Bitcoin doubles, I mean, obviously the math wouldn't be 1 for 1. Your interest rate gets cut in half. But Is the interest rate you're paying, is it just totally removed from what Jerome Powell might say because he's in a bad mood? And is it just, is it 100% your Bitcoin value, or is it kind of a mixture?
Yeah, I love this question because this is what makes us first market movers and innovators. The first thing is you only need to post 1-to-1. So if you're gonna take your Bitcoin to any other lender in the space and you want to buy a $500,000 home, you're gonna want to post $1 million or $1.5 million worth of Bitcoin to borrow the 500,000 because you're borrowing it as a risk on tech stock on margin. So
yeah, they don't want you to be like a Sam Bankman or something. They're like, oh, this might be risky. We need 2 or 3x the amount of money in Bitcoin.
Yeah. So at People's Reserve, we don't require that. It's just 1-to-1. So the first thought is, well, wait a second. If it's just 1-to-1, can I get liquidated? Isn't that very dangerous? Well, no, because now for the first time, we're cross collateralizing Bitcoin and real estate. So it's the property and Bitcoin that is securing the loan, not just Bitcoin alone. What that allows us to do is to remove price volatility-based liquidation. So I like to use the COVID example. If you're borrowing during COVID, price goes down from 10,000 to 5,000, you're getting margin calls. You don't know if you're going to post more Bitcoin. You're still trying to make up your mind. Overnight, price goes below $3,500. You've been liquidated. You've now lost the most important asset on your balance sheet.
Oh,
But
yeah. No, that'd be terrible.
If you were with People's Reserve in that scenario, though, price goes from 10 to 5. For every 10% price decline in Bitcoin, we add 50 basis points or half of 1% to your interest rate. So a minus 50% price move equals 2.5% increase in your interest rate. So COVID would have happened. It goes down. You pay a little bit higher of a monthly mortgage payment for 1 or 2 months. Then Bitcoin rebounds, goes right back to 10,000. And now you're right back to where you originally started with your original interest rate. You still own your Bitcoin. You just had to pay a higher monthly payment for a couple months until Bitcoin rebounded. Then when Bitcoin went on to new all-time highs, for every 10% price increase, we knock off 20 basis points off your interest rate, up to 200% over collateralization. So you can knock off 4% from your borrow rate. And with People's Reserve, we have our PRN loyalty token. If you don't have the token, your rate starts at 10.5%. If you do have the token, it starts as low as 7.5%. You subtract 4 from that. If you don't have the token, you can get a 6.5% rate with Bitcoin as collateral. That's the best rate in the industry. If you are a loyalty member and you do hold our token, you can get 3.5%. That's 100 basis points below the rate at which the US government is borrowing money. You, as the responsible saver of Bitcoin, are now the risk-free borrower. You, the responsible saver of Bitcoin, now have access to the cheapest cost of capital in the world for home purchases. That's what our mission is about.
All right. Well, I'm looking at your website here. I don't know if we can share. It's peoplesreserve.com. You have an X account as well. Now, a lot of people are wondering, I thought you're CJ Constantine. Is it Konstantinos?
Yes, Konstantinos, Greek.
I follow my cudgel for that one, so I apologize. What can you do for the Disco fan? What do we got to do to learn more about this? Should we? Go to the website, fill out the form. DM on X for the People's Reserve. What's the best way to reach this company for people who might be interested in this?
Yeah, so we've been building for over 3 years. So we're really excited to actually launch, and everything starts for us on July 4th. On July 4th. We're taking back financial independence and we're declaring financial freedom, not only for responsible savers of Bitcoin, but also from that TradFi yield curve, right? Also from that centralized entity that states interest rates and anchors interest rates. We want free market interest rates. And this all starts with our PRN loyalty token sale. And that starts on July 4th at 10:21 a.m. So go to the website, sign up for the newsletter, but we are launching in the next day our token sale website as well as our main website. So this has been a placeholder that's been up for a while where you can only sign up for the newsletter where we teach you about Bitcoin, but more importantly, how to use Bitcoin with the financial tools that we've built for you, how to leverage Bitcoin on your balance sheet to get ahead in life. So definitely go ahead and sign up there and you'll find out all about how to use our financial tools. But coming up this July 4th, that's when you really want to be paying attention because that's when you can get your loyalty tokens. And that's when you can get the calculable economic benefits of getting access to the cheapest cost of capital in the world. We want to detach you from the TradFi yield curve. We don't believe in fractional reserve practices. We don't believe in a system where a small group of men tell you what the price of money is. We believe in free market price discovery of interest rates based on the supply of money, the demand for loans, and the perception of counterparty risk. And when you post Bitcoin as pristine collateral, you eliminate risk. Sometimes you even create negative risk. And that's why the TradFi bros are lost. You cannot plug negative risk into their models. They have to completely redesign their models for negative risk. And that's what we've done. And we're going to be the first to offer it to the marketplace. We couldn't be more excited.
Love it.
Yeah, love it, love it. A lot of non-linear upside to this. You know, you can only lose 1x, but it seems like, you know, saving money with your mortgage, interest, etc. A lot of upside to this potentially here.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us today, CJ. Love that. Gets me pumped up. Bitcoin is literally breaking the traditional finance system. They don't know what to do. Like you said, it's breaking all the models, and it really is just getting started. I know we spoke out in Vegas. You guys have some really interesting things beyond this as well with Bit bonds and some of that kind of stuff. So talk about breaking the system. I mean, that's what Bitcoin is really doing. So happy to have you guys here. Everybody go check out the People's Reserve. We will drop a link in the comments and in the description. I know you guys saw it on the screen just now. DZ pulled it up, but big news coming out. The 4th is this Friday, so stay tuned for that. CJ, we'll have to have you on again soon to follow up. But thanks for joining us here today, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, see you later.
Love it, love it. All right, good stuff right there. Make sure you go follow them on X, everybody. Let's check in on Bitcoin's price because it's going
ripping.
bananas.
It's ripping.
It is ripping right now. It just started going on a tear this morning. I saw this. I thought about. I woke up this morning, 6-ish. I was like, all right, so Bitcoin's gonna have a little bit of dip, and then I was commuting and I missed my entry here, and we had a morning meeting. So then I saw it around this range. God, I want to long it, but I'm gonna wait for a correction. I missed my entry point as Bitcoin just going on a huge tear. This would have been great to just hit that 69x.
So you're blaming my morning meeting. That was really the problem.
Yeah, it was all your fault.
It was all my fault.
Yeah,
well, I got
your
mine
fault
in.
is why I don't have Lambos.
I got mine in 12%. There you go. I got my little 20x long on Bitcoin. Got in at 107.6. We're riding it right now. A few $100 there, so not bad on LBank. If you guys aren't using LBank, they are launching. I should find the page. We have new rewards, guys. If you guys don't use LBank with us, we do have a lot of Disco Fam rewards that they do every single month. There's a new one. I'll pull the information together for you guys. I think it's very minimal deposit, $150 deposit kind of thing starts to unlock some of those rewards. So we'll bring that out. If you guys aren't following along with Josh in the trading challenge, that he's there. A lot of people are having really fun there. It's the $1,000 to GT3 challenge. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm dropping the.
Oh man, look at the SWE entries. If remember I talked about those SWE entries. If you jumped in and you had some low leverage, yeah, you did pretty good. You jumped in, you got some really good long positions there. Now we ended up closing it because it was a scalp long. For myself there, we jumped in and then we jumped out around that range there. So congrats everybody jumped in on the sweet trade. Let's talk about the dollar. So on the DXY, we were looking at the 3-day, we were looking at the 1-day. You look at the 4-hour, looks like the dollar is trying to come back. But one of the main reasons it's in a downtrend is we're printing too much. And so let's talk about the M2 money supply. We're going to look at M2, then Caleb has something interesting here. The US M2 supply jumped 4.5% year over year in May to a record 21.94 trillion, the 19th consecutive monthly increase. It has now surpassed the previous all-time high, 21.86, posted in March 22. Furthermore, inflation-adjusted M2 supply rose 2% year over year. This is the largest increase since early 22. Since 2020, the U.S. M2 money supply has risen by $7 trillion, or 45%. The dollar's purchasing power is in an eternal bear market. Now, this is interesting. Caleb, he has a global M2 measurement, and he's saying it's officially broken out. It's more conservative than what a lot of the other analysts are showing because he does not include China or India and only focuses on the M2 of US, Japan, Canada, Europe, and UK. And he's saying this is actually a better fit than what you're seeing from Raoul Paul and some of the other M2 charts there. So some interesting. We do want to see M2 continue to climb, though. This one, interestingly, doesn't have a delay on it.
Yeah, this is not offset. That's as far as I can. That might be why he's saying it's more correlated. Like if you're having to kind of make
at
up
81 days or 111 days,
yeah, if you're making up your own offsets to create the correlation, obviously that's less correlation. So if he can find one that's, hey, this looks fairly correlated without any kind of caveats, it looks pretty coordinated.
Yeah, shout out to Caleb. Go follow that guy. He's a very smart guy. He has a analytics thing, Cubic Analytics on Substack. It's probably one of the better ones out there. All right, let's talk about M2 money supply. So the U.S. hit the 22 trillion. This has a lagged effect on inflation, according to the St. Louis Reserve. God, how about that chart right there? And so it reached the 21.94, 0.92, surpassed that here, 4.5, the highest in 3 years, like we were saying. So M2 includes hard currency, bank, money market mutual fund deposits that are relatively liquid. We've talked about passing the March 22 level. For crypto, the message is muddled. Now, this is an upside and a downside. This is kind of interesting, TJ. Typically, growing money supply, hey, it's a signal of looser financial conditions, growing economy, promotes greater investment exposure to riskier assets like crypto. So, yeah, we print a bunch of money, crypto's going to pump. It's a pretty clear message. What about the other side of the argument there? On the other hand, money supply growth can lead to inflation, right, if it outpaces the economy. But inflation concerns could reduce risk taking and pressure the Fed to raise interest rates. So this is maybe pain you'll get like 18 months later, 2 years later.
I agree with half of that statement. I agree that it could pressure the Fed not to reduce interest rates, but I think we're already seeing that battle play out. Inflation concerns do not reduce investor risk taking, in my opinion. Inflation, you're talking about major investors maybe, but retail and most people that are trying to survive, you can actually see in high inflationary environments, they get riskier. Why do you think sports betting has proliferated over the last few years, and gambling and all kinds of in crypto and stock traders and Robinhood, and because retail is getting debt and side hustles, and retail is getting desperate to find new ways to make money, because what they were doing, working a regular 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, doesn't get it done anymore. So you need to do more. You got to be able to have a side hustle. You got to take some bets on this. You got to do that. And you can see throughout history when in society, when inflation gets out of control, people start taking more risk, not necessarily less risk. So I would disagree with that part. But the part where it said the Fed could, have something to take a stronger stance, possibly, but they've basically taken the strongest stance they could already. So,
are you buying ADA? I actually traded some ADA for Strike this morning. I need to put that in the DZ drop zone. So I DCA'd a little bit extra into Strike, which is the hype of Cardano.
Right. Not to be confused with Strike, STRK, the security related to MicroStrategy.
Yeah. And honestly, there's another coin called
There's
Strike.
a few Strikes out there. And Jack Mahler's
it's the green one though.
Yeah,
geez, I didn't realize.
Is that the rebrand of Safe Wallet? It looks just very, like, my eyes aren't great.
Which one?
The green one. No, it's not. Never mind. Looks kind of like the Safe Wallet.
And there's a Strike down there. So many strikes out there. So many strikes.
3 strikes and you're out.
That's right. But I tell you what's not out. Altcoins. Altcoin ETFs are in all balls, baby. SEC Gov is in the early stages of creating a generic listing standard for altcoin ETFs in coordination with exchanges. So this is huge news. The government is creating basically a listing standard for your Solana ETF, your Cardano ETF, your XRP ETF. The thinking, I'm told, if it meets the criteria, you skip a major process, you file the S1, you wait 75 days, and then boom, you can list it. So save issuers and the SEC a lot of paperwork and back and forth on comments. So, there's these comment periods, 45 days. SEC has like time to do a rebuttal. There's a public forum section. It's a whole complicated process. But what the listing standards would be, still unclear. But some are speculating it's going to be based on market cap, trading volume, and liquidity. The SEC has declined to comment. Now, we do have the Bloomberg bros here. This is what everyone wants, what makes sense, and what we think will happen, and why we're so bullish with the 95% on most coins approval rates there. The question is just going to be, what are the standards? So we're seeing a lot of the smart, connected people around Wall Street saying, and Washington, D.C., saying altcoin ETFs are about to get a huge green light or on-ramp or, rocket fuel, steroids. You pick the metaphor. This might lead to another gold rush, or what they're calling the ETF gold rush. Was it DeFi summer might be coming, folks. So this is also very, very big news that not a lot of people are, I don't think, realizing the impact.
No, again, like, people, it's so crazy to me when we were telling people end of last year, beginning of this year, hey, September, October, November is probably is like when alts are really going to be popping off. Everybody was excited. Now that we're like getting close to that, and people are getting worn out and they're tired and they're just like, oh, these alts are never
tired,
going to.
Grandpa.
Like everybody's ready to abandon their alts right before the rally, even though we've been saying the whole time it's going to be late this year. It's going to be late this year. You know, the 4-year cycle.
We're still buying some Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know, we're not just like, oh, I got dry powder. It's all an altcoin.
No,
we're still increasing. Yeah, we're
stacking Bitcoin. We're stacking our altcoin bags. But the like I remember shooting it with you, standing in that spot. I think almost a year ago, talking about September of 2025 being, you know, a good time for altcoins, and October, you know, November, maybe even into November. Now we're seeing that play out over and over. Everybody's sitting here saying, "Oh, you know, I'm over it," and it's just like, guys, I think you're right. People are sleeping on what's coming later this year. It's September rate cut hits. All I hope for is that I can have all my money in the market before that happens.
I got one message for the Bears. That's too damn bad. Was that from Holes?
Maybe,
tired,
yeah.
Grandpa.
Yeah, I think so.
I've never seen Holes.
I think I have.
Sandlot, I haven't seen. Goonies, I haven't seen. And
And you've never seen Holes?
Never seen Holes.
No,
I know it has Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, that was like his first Disney Channel. It's like his I don't know if it was a Disney Channel movie, but I know they advertise it on Disney Channel all the time.
I'm old school, so to me, when I think of a Disney Channel movie, my favorite go-to back in the day when I was a wee lad, a Goofy movie. I loved the Goofy movie.
But that's not a Disney Channel original.
No, I guess I was poor and I didn't have Disney Channel, so I'd have to like rent it at a Blockbuster 6 months.
Goofy
later,
movie is one of the best. Good. I love a Goofy movie. I saw somehow it came up, like I saw the cover of it somewhere the other day, and I'm like, oh, it just brought me back. Jeez whiz, right?
Yep. And people are still mad about Josh. We have if you're just coming in, if you're a newer viewer, please hit that like button. Please make sure you subscribe. We do have another host. He does a lot of trading live streams. He's been doing some trading vlogs. He's never seen Fight Club.
Yeah.
And we're all apoplectic about it. We can't stand it.
I guess what we're doing at the end of the year, Q4, Christmas party, we're doing like a movie marathon, and we're all each one of us has to watch the movie that nobody can believe they haven't seen. So for Josh, it's Fight Club. For you, it's, I don't know if it's Holes or something else, but
when I was younger, 20 years ago, everyone just couldn't believe I hadn't seen Goonies. Now no one even cares. It's like enough time has passed.
Well, no, I guess it'd be more like somebody say, yeah, I've never seen Lord of the Rings, or I've never seen Star Wars or something like that, and be like, what? How? Somebody
up there. What about Harry Potter? It is devilry.
So that was the one. Yeah, I hadn't seen it until like 2 months ago. I watched. What? Yeah, I'd seen like a movie or two. I didn't, but I
never sat down and watch all 8.
I watched all of them. I didn't know how it ended though. I didn't know like how the story concluded. And Jeremy, I was even talking to Jeremy about that while he was here. I said, yeah, I'm watching it. I've got like two movies left. I don't know what happens. I'm curious to see how the story ends. And he was like, he just couldn't believe that I still didn't know. So yeah,
I cannot believe it. The Goonies. You don't know the truffle shuffle. I like to eat truffle on my meals. All right, let's talk about Connecticut. Connect, I cut. More like, they're cutting your connection to crypto, and I can't stand it. The governor approves a law prohibiting crypto use in government. We got the details. And so we talked about it passing I think their House of Representatives. Now the governor, Ned has signed the bill restricting the use of digital assets to state government, including the establishment of a crypto reserve. It prohibits the state government from accepting or requiring payment in the form of virtual currency, restricts them or prohibits them from purchasing, holding, investing in, or establishing a crypto reserve. This part is really bad. That means if their state enforcement officers obtain crypto through criminal confiscation, they got to like immediately paper hand it, which is like, all right, so you're just going to force yourself to pull a Germany where they sold $50 billion of Bitcoin right before the pump. So big thumbs down for Connecticut.
This is exactly what I was talking about
on this
earlier, where people that try to push back slowly lose. And so this is what you'll see is Connecticut as a state, they're going to lose to other states that embrace Bitcoin. The states that embrace it win. The states that fight it lose.
Eminem's pissed about this. He's not afraid to stand up to the governor there.
Wow.
Why doesn't that look like Eminem? New Eminem, beard, black hat Eminem.
Yeah, kind of.
I am used to the white t-shirt, blonde tips. We did dye our hair blonde in high school, like every boy in 1999. It was the move, folks. It was the move. You just had to be there. All right, let's talk about Plume. Where are my Plume holders at? Where the Plumians? What's the Plume community called?
I don't know. like plume dart, like plume. I don't know.
I don't have any.
The plume explosions, the plume clouds, the plume people.
Plumarians. We'll take Plumarians here. Yeah, that was going to go. All right. Big thanks to real Donald Trump. This is coming from Plume co-founder.
Which, by the way, guys, Plume crushing it. Say up 20%. One of our top RWA picks. I told everybody in the Discord when I sold all my Cosmos for Plume a while back, and I'm very glad that I did. Yeah,
this thing's moving. Now it's in a downtrend, but I think it is. I think it's broken.
Yeah, it's going. It's moving.
Yeah, we got higher lows pretty consistently and higher highs. So yeah, I would say the downtrend largely broken here. So good news. So what's the news here? Big thanks to Donald and his team for helping us pave the future of real world asset fi over here at Plume Network, along with the recent announcement of USD1 from World Liberty on Plume. We're beyond ecstatic to continue pushing forward with the new administration to Plumerica. This is only the beginning. The plumers, I don't know, plumber cracks,
Pluminators,
Plumarians. It might just be Plumarians here. So good news, Plume there. Now token unlocks. I wanted to just throw a couple altcoins on your radar. July unlocks are going to be $3 billion. Emissions concentrated mostly with 4 tokens. They're taking up 59% of the emissions here. Trump token, major unlock, almost $1 billion.
Sure.
Trump is unlocking 20% of the total this month. Warning for the Trump holders. Solana, SWE, and World, they have kind of like daily emission rates. You combine that. World, I think, does have an unlock. Combining that, $642 million. I think SWE might have an emission as well. And then across the mid and the low caps, 182. So just something to keep on your radar if you're in these 4 tokens. You go to Tokenomist. I think they have the website here. And you might have to sign in. I don't think you got to pay money for it. You just type in the token here. So we type in SWE. I think I have to sign in. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you. Again, it is free, and you can see right here. Yeah, so boom. Looks like 29 days. They're releasing 44 million SWE tokens there. So Tokenomics is the page there.
And Crypto Vet, who runs the DeFi Crypto Airdrops channel. If you guys aren't hanging out,
and that's why the token went down.
Yeah, if you guys aren't in the token or in the Discord with us doing the DeFi stuff, make sure to jump in there. But yeah, we've been earning 325% APR on Plume. There's a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, that APR needs to come down if it's going to have a really good price appreciation.
Yeah, well, it's not just straight. You're not like staking APR. It's not what you're thinking of, but it's.
Oh, you're getting it
pools,
in different currencies.
Liquidity.
You're getting like stable coin or Arrow or whatever.
It's a little bit of a different type thing.
Combine APR.
But it is a high, they're really trying to incentivize that, right? And then it will come down. Once money flows into it, it does not equalate. What's the word I'm looking for? Balance out, basically. So but that's all we have time for today, guys. Make sure to get yourself an Arculus wallet, our favorite hardware wallet. I can't point over there. There it is on DZ's side. Sign up for Bitcoin IRA if you haven't already. Got yourself a tax protected vehicle. In the meantime, I just closed my trade. I'm going to be hanging out in the Discord there. Made a couple $100 and working on some videos, watching Bitcoin pump, watching our altcoins pump, and preparing for our best Christmas yet. It's going to be a good.
I might have to expose Donald Trump and that Trump token unlock. Ooh. Yeah, I'm exposing him. Yeah, I'm exposing the orange man.
Needs to happen. We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you.